Hey guys, Break here, and today we're going to be talking about 3 ways in which you can make amazing gold in WoW right now. So the first thing that I think is a great way of making gold is actually selling dungeon boosts. Now this is something I did a lot during Legion, and it was very successful at. I did do a video on it during Legion, but during BFA it has proved even more profitable, which is pretty cool. So for those of you who don't know what that is, there is an example here. This Demon Hunter wants to sell plus 10 boost. So it's this kind of thing. You basically advertise in trade chat, selling a boost for gold, and then you boost someone through a Mythic Plus dungeon. Now, Blizzard changed things a bit during Legion and BFA. So basically before, you could advertise kind of cross-realm in the group finder. So you could sell to people on different servers, and that meant the really big guys just kind of controlled the market. But now you're not allowed to do that, so there's kind of server-specific groups that are easier to form and easier to sell now. So if you're on a lower pop server or a medium pop server, then you could probably charge quite a high amount for a boost. I've seen people selling plus 10s for 600k. I've seen people selling plus 5s for 200k. And a plus 5, you don't actually have to be that geared, guys, to boost someone through a plus 5. I mean, you have to know what you're doing, obviously, because you're basically four-manning it. The other person's probably not going to help you at all. But you don't have to be an amazing player to boost a plus 5. And if you can sell it for 200k, which I have seen the price going at, then that is really, really good. And if you are selling for 200k, say a plus 5 or a 6 or a 7 or a 10, whatever you're selling, then that's 50k each. And like I say, I've seen them going for 600k, that's 150k each, because obviously you'll split it between the 4 of you. So it's quite a complicated way to make some gold at the start, and you do have to advertise a bit, and you do obviously have to be quite geared. It's not for everyone, but it is a very fun way of making gold. I would prefer to run people through hard Mythic Plus, and it's actually a challenge to make 50k in half an hour, rather than doing a boring farm that will make me 50k in an hour or 50k in 2 hours. So it's a really good way of making gold, and it's actually a fun and challenging way of making gold. So if you are interested in doing it, then a couple of tips. Always advertise the kind of gear that you're going to get from the dungeon. Don't just say want to sell plus 10, say want to sell plus 10, get your 370 gear now and your chest that could go up to 390 or whatever you want to say. And you actually advertise it properly. And obviously you want to take the gold before you start. I've seen some people who try and take the gold before the last boss, which you could do, or half and half, but realistically you're selling the boost. I would take the gold before you start the dungeon. And that way, just everything's going to be easy. There aren't going to be any problems. And then you split it between the 4 of you, and it's all good. And I have still seen people selling cross-server and then selling like token price or whatever. And that can work, but it's a bit more complicated. But anyway, this is one way you can make great gold right now. Okay, so the second thing people are using to make millions of gold with right now is BOE flipping. So as you are all well aware of, the raids have come out. The Old Deer raid and the Mythic race is now just finished, but there are tons of people still raiding Mythic, obviously only Method have finished, and there are tons of people still raiding Heroic and everything else. People are very excited about the raid, and to be fair, it's actually a pretty fun raid. Anyway, you can make a lot of gold flipping BOEs. So on Trade Skill Master, you want to search for something like this, or you can just search in the general WoW thing if you don't have Trade Skill Master, but I suggest you get it. Anyway, a search like this, and it doesn't take too long. My server is huge for raid gear, so it takes a bit longer than most, but it will come up with a few items and the DB market price, or I've set it to the region market price. So what this will do is it will show me what is the region average compared to my market price, and then I can flip if I want. So for example, the buyout of this Kinch right here is 35k. But the region market value is 130k, so that might make it seem a bit cheaper than it maybe should be. And if we press the little arrow next to it, this will come up with all the other items that are the same, but maybe a different price or a different item level or anything like that. So we'll just wait for the scan to finish. There we go. Now I'll press the little arrow, and here we go. Right, so these are all the Kinches on my server. So there are loads and loads on for 75k. That seems to be the price. 65% of the region average, because that's what I've set my pricing to here. And so yeah, that's about normal. My server is very big, so it's going to be below region average, and 75k. So what's the difference here, guys? All of these are just normal. This one has indestructible, so pretty worthless, but it's way cheaper than the others. So what can we do? We can buy this out and we can relist it for the 75k, and we've just doubled our gold. So very, very easy. If you guys watch my mailbox openings from the end of Legion, I was making many millions of gold every single week doing this, and it is fairly easy to do. Obviously it's a bit of a risk, the flipping, particularly at the very start of the raid tier, because prices start really high. But you know, things have started to go down a little bit now, so things are starting to be a bit more reliable. But obviously if you don't have much gold, then I wouldn't risk too much doing this. But if you have a lot of gold, then there's no harm in trying it out. So yes, in TSM I do change market value to DB region market average, just because I like looking at the region price, because otherwise the market value can be a bit skewed. But it's your choice, you can keep it at DB market or change it. And yeah, just be really careful, guys. Like I say, don't go wasting all your gold on some flip that's not going to work out. Please remember that the gear is probably more expensive now than it will be in a few weeks' time. And a really good thing to do is just kind of practice and get experience and look up what are the BIS items or whatever. Because if you find the item that's really, really good, then it's always going to sell. Even if you try and flip it for really, really high, it's still going to sell. Whereas if you're trying to flip an item that isn't actually that good, no one will really want it. If you guys remember in Legion when I was flipping the braces, because the braces were really, really good, everyone was getting them, no one really wanted the other gear, and I made so much gold off those braces. You got to find the same sort of thing for BFA, and I'll be doing more videos as I get more experienced with the BFA flipping. But do give it a go if you're interested, guys. It's a great way to make a nice bit of profit. Okay, so the third way to make really good gold right now is on the Warfronts. Now this is kind of a classic thing that a lot of people have talked about in terms of gold making, but it is worth paying attention to because a lot of the guides that I've seen have been a bit inaccurate in terms of what actually is needed. So no one really knows the exact materials for the Warfront until it actually becomes active. You can't prepare for them. I mean, it could be pretty much any material in BFA, and you know, no one knows the exact things because from the beta it completely changes, and you know, it can basically be anything. But I will leave a link in the description below to a WoW Economy article which does give the confirmed materials needed for Warfronts that have happened, and speculative / potential materials / crafting stuff that could be needed for Warfronts based off what we've seen before and what is likely to come up. So the basic thing you want to do here is wait until the turn-in starts, and from the second the turn-in start, you want to hit the auction house and see what the prices are like for the items. So for example, if Enchant Ring, Seal of Haste comes up on the quest and you see it, if you're quick enough you can go to the auction house, buy them out and relist them, and you can probably make a nice profit just flipping those. Another thing I've seen people doing is literally hanging around here, and / yelling, want to sell all Warfront items, and people just come and buy them all so they can hand in all the quests. Bit weird, I know, but people do that. So you can hang around here if you like, the second the quests pop up, or you can get involved in flipping the items. Now the article I'm going to link you is going to give a few of the TSM strings for these items, but that is going to be a bit of a risk because, like I say, there's so many potential items, it's quite hard to guess. But people made tons and tons of gold last time this was available for the EU Horde. They were selling them right here, they were selling them on the auction house, and they were making a lot of gold. And like I say, resetting markets is very, very hard to do, but if there is some sort of different context, such as a Warfront, when people really, really need certain materials, that's going to be the best possible time for you to reset a market. So if you did want to get interested in something like that, then do take a look at the article and do think about it, and do try and be quick, because you're not going to have much time, because the second it goes live, people are going to be doing their quests and then they're done. So you want to get there nice and early. Anyway, that is another way of making gold right now. And that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. They are some interesting ways of making gold, not the classic ways, but I'm always interested in the new and interesting and fun ways. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be taking a look, and I might do a more in-depth guide on boosting and a more in-depth guide on BOE flipping, because that is what I like to do. Anyways, thanks for watching guys, and until next time, see ya.